levels is a bit too far off. You know, Warlock buffs. What do you mean? We had a moment when Warlock was a top contender hero. You know, when everyone wanted the Shadow Word, when the talented 15 felt a little bit better.
Yeah.
But no. The one issue with Warlock is always going to be if you overbuff Shadow Word, it's way too strong. And if you somehow tweak Chaotic Offering to be less kind of long cooldown garbage, it's going to be too strong as well. So the hero's just at the point where tweaking it just a little bit too much will drive it insane. Although I guess some small touches in there. You know what? Buff Upheaval. That could be funny.
What if they just rework the hero, John? Would you like that?
No. I would actually prefer it to stay the same. I'm a miserable person, Mike. I like suffering.
You know who else
Leave
is
Warlock
miserable right
alone.
now, John? YRG's very miserable. He's up against the Viper here. Not a very fun laning stage. Mind you, he does still have more CS than the Viper at the moment. Thing is, as the levels go on here for V, it's kind of like, how do you contest this lane as a Pango? This top lane, well, Molasses is going to be okay, but tell me, John, what does the Pango do this game?
Just try to hold back, play with your swash, see the angles for shield crash. V only has one mango, although he's going to have a bottle up sooner rather than later. That will cause some issues. Ranfu is playing really ballsy on that Warlock, just running up, getting the Shadow Words off. It is holding Molasses back. It is a slower lane for Molasses. I mean, it's a Ricky lane, so you can get away with a lot more here for Ranfu than you normally would be able to. And that's providing a lot of room out for Lunfa to just kind of farm uncontested. So he's doing his job well. He's getting his value from the Warlock in lane. Only has the one mango left, but you're kind of fine with that. You're not healing up your carry anyway. You can afford to basically just go for a reset at some point. Although, ideally, you would want First Blood on your side first. But yeah, you've done your job.
Thank you for that, Jonathan. Bot lane, of course, the one we haven't really talked about too much. You're going to have there on the Spectre, which our panel seemed to believe was going to have a pretty free game, assuming he can get to the, not much in the way of contest, because he's got TZ there to make sure he does lane that bot lane. Of course, Killer Aaron going to be against him. You do seem to have some pretty decent kill potential. Lift into a hoof stomp. See, plenty of damage can be done here from the Centaur with the double edge. But I don't know. For now, it just feels like the Spectre's going to be just fine.
Yeah, you're not really going to be able to stop him from farming up either. It's a very static lane in that sense. The supports can trade a little bit better. And they've done a great job here on Polka. At least just cut the tree line.
Is he really? Oh my god. There's no way. He was just sitting there right-clicking the Viper for the last 20 seconds, doing no damage. And it turns out eventually it was enough.
It's one of those things. You don't expect the Ricky to rotate, but when it does, you know, you're caught off guard.
He was
you're like, wow,
there for 20 seconds, John. He was just attacking
it's
the
a Ricky,
Viper.
right? You just don't respect it, right? It's like, all right, it's a Ricky. I have level 2 corrosive skin. I shouldn't die, and you fall anyway.
Oh, well, there he goes. Marblu, he does end up dying top lane. He just cops 2 raises, and that'll be enough from Lenfer. Oh, my goodness. Well, there you go. They do get a bit of revenge, but still a massive pickup onto the Viper. The YRG, he's still suffering here against that Viper, but ultimately, seems like he is still okay. So as I say that, V's getting even more damage in, but he will survive through it, I believe.
Yeah, okay is a word I wouldn't use there, Mikey. He killed a Viper, sure. In a way, he gets a reset. He comes in full HP, fresh bottle, gets his water rune. He's going to be able to just spit at you constantly. And I'm pretty sure, you know, it's one of those things where you fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, that's shame on me. V is not going to let that happen again.
Right.
He's just going to farm up, be fine, and just kind of get that build up. And so far, it's rather even in lanes. You are coming off a stronger start up top for Lanfa, which is to be expected. The SF just has an uncontested lane. There's not too much you can really do here from our blue. You have to be cautious about the clump up on the creep wave because of the fatal bonds, plus the raises. Just gets out of control really fast. And for the side of Meteor, you're very happy about this lane for it's not being contested out. He is going for the blade mail, so he has some flash farm potential there as well. And Killer is really trying to force this out.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of slow out on Killer, but they won't be able to follow up. Aaron will be there just in case. The Fade Bolt, obviously, more than enough to just hold them back anyway. So they won't come really anywhere close to killing off that Centaur. Meanwhile, Ma Blue top side, trying to get a bit of a pull off on the creep wave. Ranfu does end up getting the small camp to aggro here, so the creep wave never really follows Ma Blue apart from that one creep. Meanwhile, as I look away, bottom lane, TZ ends up going down here to kill her, and it goes back to that thing, like if you can land the hoof stomp into the double edge, it's a stupid amount of damage.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous amount. You can easily melt through the tree, and they've done a great job of just ensuring there are not too many trees to deal with early on. So you doesn't have as many escape angles. YRG getting chased down a bit here though.
Does have a swash, we'll try, but the poison attack damage way too high at this stage. We'll find him. That's the thing, it seems like every single lane at this stage of the game seems quite challenging for Meteor Gaming, right? Like, mid lane's not going well, top lane's not going great either, and bottom lane, it starts to get very, very difficult against Killer, even just on his own. But once the Rubik gets into the equation, it feels impossible.
Yeah, it's a bit tough for you to get any play coming out there. You're at the point where Killer's just going to have a Vanguard ready to go at some point, and he's just going to be set. You don't have enough magical output to focus onto the Centaur early on, and you will have to stall for the Spec to farm up rather fast, and you will have to wait for Mar Blue to just hit his 15-minute shard time, which it's going to leave a lot of openings that Poke can poke into themselves as well. More used to their biggest advantage.
Getting caught out. Living Armor will be there. Killer going to back off for a little bit. Does have another double edge up, but doesn't seem to want to risk his own life for this. And that's fair, because he probably would end up just killing himself with that double edge. It's with the dispersion damage to reflect. Not going to be fun at all. But he has very nice regen. He'll just reset just a little bit in the laning stage. And eventually you can just keep this harassment up. Like, there's not too much you can do as Again, luckily he does have the regen flying in from TZ, so I suppose he gets his own reset here. Killer, bit of a chase, but won't amount to anything. They don't have the lockdown. I suppose he does have level 6 up now, so Stampede is available if he needs to. And it seems like perhaps the bottom lane isn't as challenging as it once was.
Yeah, it's something he can work on his own now with the Hood of Defiance. You can leave the Centaur solo, try to rotate now with Aaron. He does manage to spot YRG. The roll is ready, but not going to commit, just trying to get some stacks up on the medium camp on the side there. On the side of Poke, I mean, they've got this really comfy 3k lead. You've got this SF that's been uncontested. It's going to find its timing to the Dragonlance. Eventually, Ranfu can threaten with Golem when that's up as well. And this earlier timing just isn't to the favor of Meteor. And they have a lineup that just feels like it's going to take a lot longer to hit that point where it can overtake.
Bottom. Chase again on some, but again, with the Living Armor, he's just going to tank through it. So much heal coming out. And on top of that, now you've got the Blade Mail up, so he can kind of just start returning damage back the way of the Centaur if he really wants to. Literally double up the double edge.
Yeah. Try to bring them down with that Blade Mail. Of course, it does lead to faster flash form as well for Meteor, but you don't really have the stacks for the Spectre to just sit there with Dispersion Blade Mail. The no flash farm kind of lined up here for
Here we go. The Stomp is out. Raindrops will protect, but they've got the Viper this time, and that's going to be more than enough. Once you've got the Nether Toxin to add to the equation, it's certainly not very tanky, and that's a massive pickoff. Like, this is your POS 1 you'll be relying on throughout this whole game. No other laning has been really great for the side of Meteor Gaming. Like, this is their saving grace right now, and well, you see how easily they can just kind of burst down the Spectre when they wish.
Yeah, as long as they get an additional here with some output, as long as that V is around to kind of help with it, then it doesn't take too long. And there's really no counterplay from your tree. You can drop Living Armor, but you still melt on the Spectre there. You have to just be a little bit cautious. Meteor's game, a lot slower. They haven't really played this early role coming out from YRG, but they're clumping up top with Molasses and YRG. They're just looking for that push. You should be able to find that tier 1 objective for themselves. Still, you've already rotated out as Lunfa. He has his Mask of Madness up. And he's more than happy to just farm some small stacks that Round Fu built up for him.
Yeah, V. Double damage rune available as well. Mid lane, just pushing out that tier 1 tower. YRG, ready with the Rolling Thunder. Not the easiest target to go on, but they are bringing at least one more in. Problem is, it's only a support Ricky. Eren will at least get caught out, so you find something. And that's going to be enough for the push of the mid lane. Poke will be forced to back off. I suppose at least you get that Rubik.
You find a Rubik. You ensure that the double damage isn't doing as much here for V as well, so he's not able to leverage that into a kill. And you're just stalling game. Name of the game here for Meteor is stall. Keep trying to just wait it out and get that build up. They are giving the stacks that YRG built up. The Blade Mail dispersion, I mean, there was a time where this was super fast. Now it just doesn't feel as impressive. And you just barely live through. He has to use the Seeds of Serenity to even just stay alive there.
I mean, you know things are desperate when you have to use that item, John. It literally does nothing. I mean, it's like not even a great... It's not even a tango, basically, John. It's terrible.
It's
terrible.
some HP. Like, at least it's there. You know?
Yeah.
It's something to help you out, and you need everything you can get here on Meteor.
If I was to predict a neutral item to get deleted next patch, it's Seeds of Serenity. I just don't see what the point of this item is. Even, like, how depressing is it as a pos 5 when you see that item drop? Because you know you're going to have to carry it for 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's not a fun time. They are trying to have a fun time here on Poco, pushing in bot.
But they are. Rolling Thunder is committed by YRG. It looks like he'll try for the Centaur, but Stampede is just going to allow them to run. Still, the chase is on after Eren, but Swashbuckle was picked up, and now he's got Shield Crash. So he won't have the Rolling Thunder, but YRG basically finds nothing with this Rolling Thunder at all. And the chase is still on for him. Eren, that's a cute little Shield Crash from the Rubik. They will not be able to get in range to punish the Pango in the end, so it looks like he's going to be okay. But ultimately, this bottom tier 1 tower, it does seem like it will eventually just drop.
And they've got the golem ready to go in round Fu as well. So our Warlock can actually contribute here in this fight if he does manage to live through it.
Now he's thinking about dropping it. He might have to very, very soon. He's pump faking at the moment, but won't really drop the golem yet. Though Swashbuckle is going to catch him on the tail end. Very nice from Ranfu, and well, the tier 1 bottom tower, it remains protected.
That it does. And again, the stall game is still there on the side of Meteor. They're managing to just take this attention away from allow the Spectre to farm and ensure their objectives stand. That's all they need to do. Keep stalling out. They're going to go for a smoke play out here as well.
They are. Into the mid lane they go. You'd love to find this Viper another time if you can. Oh, they might run right into him. Marblu gonna try and find the vision. Won't quite yet. Seems like Veed seems to believe there's some wards down, and they will find the Ricky with that Sentry ward. Marblu kind of understanding his life is just gone, so we'll run right into them. And with that, the rest of the smoke rotation really won't pan out for anything. But they are going to head down bot with the rest of this smoke. They have Rolling Thunder back up, so maybe they can find themselves Eren. Eren's sticking around just a little bit longer, but they won't see him. So the Rubik going to be okay.
Managed to start out, and now it's Poke's turn to smoke. And they catch out Round Fu for a bit. He still has Chaotic Offering ready to go at least.
Mid lane, they'll group up. Killer, he's in with a Hoof Stomp. That's a great setup onto the Death Prophet. And Molasses, he just melts. Not even close to how much damage they really needed. They just delete him. Mid tier 1 tower, it is gone. No saving it this time around. Meanwhile, Marblu, he did get dusted up for a moment, but ultimately just wants to tank any kind of gank coming in for the Spectre. M obviously very low, trying to take those Ancients, but is going to be okay. But still, I mean, the tempo of the game right now is certainly Poke's way. Like, it's kind of hard to keep up with this draft at the moment. Mind you, you've got a question in about 10-15 minutes. Is it going to be enough? Maybe not, because is going for the Aghanim Scepter, and he's getting relatively close to picking it up.
Yeah, I feel like it's still going to be a good time. your supports will be in danger, but the counterplay here from Poke is you've got Stampede. If it's off cooldown, you can just avoid the sidestep and shadow step and maybe look for your own kill opportunity. So you have some counterplay coming out from Poke up against that timing that is going for, and even Witty Ags don't have anything like the Diffusal Manta, so outright killing the supports can be a little bit slower. That can give some time for Poke to just regroup and go again. Like this item timing that's coming out from Lanfa feels a lot scarier. BKB lined up for him, BKB lined up for V. A pipe coming out for Killa to mitigate some of the magical output you will be receiving from the DP and from the Pango. So a lot more durability to play with here for themselves. And some reason, 16 minutes in, Ranfu has not had the chance to use Chaotic Offering as well. Like, he hasn't had the need to, and he hasn't had the chance to. So it's actually rather interesting when you never play around that. They catch out TZ here.
They do. TZ going to be okay to walk back into the tree line. That's my big issue with this hero. It's like, when do you drop the golem? You know, it's... and when you do drop it, is it too late? Because you're 16.5 minutes in with a level 1 golem. It's not like it's going to do that much.
No. I mean, the stun is always valuable, but yeah, no, there you go.
John. They've dropped it.
Okay.
You can get rid of trees with the golem. That's very good.
Yeah. Warlock all in for deforestation here. And they do have a chance to regroup.
Killer. Well, he's going to try and run out of this smoke screen, and Diffusal Blade is up. They do drain a bit of his mana as well, so Killer doesn't have the mana for the Stampede at the moment. He needs that stick available, but it's on cooldown for another 1 second. Aaron's going to drop. He's completely out of mana again, but the stick charges will be just enough to allow them to de-initiate. The tier 1 bottom tower will remain standing. And Meteor Gaming, they'll just go after the bottom tier 1 tower themselves now.
Yeah, not going to take too long to get that push going. Should have the damage to just melt through, and we're at the point where our Ricky is going to have that shard sooner rather than later. You've got the combination on hand. At the least, you have wider AoE control coming out from PZ. There is one thing I'd like to note about this game, Mike, and this is going to be a very deep take. Notice how we have Warlock, SF, and Treant in the game. If we could, for a moment, just have them spam cancel their ults, that would be the loudest sound on your speakers for all the viewers. All of them just spam. A while ago we got it, like the spam Golem stop and the spam Requiem stop. We didn't quite get the Overgrowth base drop stoppage, but those are some really great audio cues. God, I love the audio design in Dota 2. You know, it's just so recognizable. You can tell what spell is from just the sound, mostly.
It is very good, Jonathan. That might be pretty much all that Warlock has to offer in this kind of game anyway. So, you know, might want to get on top of that. He does need a bit of help though from his other band members, but hopefully they'll get together and they'll get it right soon. Music is not easy, Jonathan. It's not easy at all.
Certainly not, Mike. And this game is also not easy for either side. It's you have a 3k lead for Poke, but it just doesn't feel like they're fully in control. Like the fact that this bot tier 1 is standing up against a Treant, it's being healed up. You've got living armor maxed out, so it does heal up fairly well, not as quick as before, but still, you know, it's going to be back to full by the time Poke decide to go back in there. And this is just so much time for the Ags is pretty much done after this camp, maybe one more camp as well. So you have the Shadow Step to play with. You can try to jump the back line. You have some great initiation angles. Just run around with your Ricky, Shadow Step, and pick off a support. With the Dart going, that is the one way to actually set up and play globally here for and Poke. I mean, their BKBs are still coming through, but we have to see some action come out from them once that's up. They can't afford to try to take this into the long con, up against a Spec, up against a Treant who can stall this game out. It's not the comfiest position for you to be playing from that far behind here.
No, it certainly isn't. And this is the problem. This is just the problem, is Spectre's just getting way too much space. Meteor Gaming are probably more than happy with the way this game's gone. Yeah, you've got an SF you can rely on, but it's kind of easier said than done. Like, against a Spectre, it's just one of those heroes, always just the king of the late game. And we'll see what Lunfer can get done. Like, he's still top of the net worth board, but just not by much. Just about 600 gold ahead of the Spec. And you're going to get to that point where he's just way too big, way too tanky to just burst down. And here we go. Top lane. We'll just shadow step. Seems like he just wanted a shadow step for the sake of getting to that top lane to be able to farm up a little bit longer. Blue's going to show up. Sleeping Dart is out onto the Centaur, but nobody's really close enough to hold Killer down. V will show up as well on the Viper. In his room, but there is a sentry to scout this out, so they know he's here. Rest of his team right behind him as well. There's your Stampede being committed, but they've only found a Riki so far. There's the Train as well. Viper Strike will connect, so TZ may drop. So they'll find 2 supports for their drop. Killer would love to blink in and stun for another, but instead they're going to try for Roshan. Blink was on cooldown. And I suppose in the end, finding both supports does open up the Roshan pit.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about the overgrowth play. You could try for a steal. It still would roll. It's just massively risky. They won't go for it. First rush going the way of Poke, it looks like here, although they're still playing tag.
Yeah, Aaron, gonna get stunned up here by YRG, and there's your Haunt coming in, but Lunfer, he does pick up the Aegis for himself. In they go, trying to force the fight. Golem was dropped as well. Nobody's dying quite yet, though. They'll try to focus on Killer, but the Requiem, with the fear, it buys a little bit of time, but not much. A 1-for-1 as both offlaners will drop. You'd have to call that a victory for Poke, considering they got away with the Aegis. 4K advantage now for Poke as well. I suppose for Meteor, it's back to the drawing board.
Yeah, just keep trying to build up. Once the Spectre has the Manta, it becomes a lot easier to go for kill opportunities on the Shadow Step. For now, it's basically just farm, maybe a bit of Tret, maybe follow through if you find the angle in. You do have a window where you don't have to worry about the Golem drop, so that is actually a small opening for Meteor if they feel confident enough. But the side of Poke will just go for that bot tier 1. It is back to full, but you know, you've got the numbers now. It shouldn't take too long to melt this at this point. Although they're not fully committing.
Sleeping Dart out, but look, it's so cheeky. They haven't dust up, but he's got his whole team behind him. YRT will happily take the kill onto Aaron, and he's thinking about Ranfu as well. Won't be able to go into that tier 2 tower quite yet, but oh, it's just that stage of the game. Sleeping Dart just set up everything. It's that was without the Spectre. And now they're going to find the SF perhaps. Ranfu will reveal they can see him. Blue will try to go for a run. There's your Sleeping Dart out, and they won't want to make the jump in, because they know he's not alone. But there is going to come a point where this Spectre's just going to happily shadow step over and kind of just join in.
Yeah, and that's going to be the Manta timing. Once has that nice and easy time to find these solo pickoffs, you still maintain this network lead from Poke, but then we have to see them do something with it. The bot tier 1 still stands. They didn't fully commit, half HP there. They're dragging the numbers now, and they don't quite have Golem up for this team fight though, but Stampede's ready for the retreat at least.
That it is. There goes your tier 1 bottom tower. No protection this time around. 6k advantage now. The way of Poke. Looking towards that bottom tier 2 tower is the side of Poke. YRG, Rolling Thunder going to be popped. He'll try to move in. Maybe go after that Warlock, but Stampede is there, and now, well, at least they only gave away Shield Crash. He'll go for the Rolling Thunder TP away, and I suppose you could make the argument he was trying to get rid of that creep wave. I don't know if it's quite worth committing a Rolling Thunder for that, but it's something.
In the grand scheme of things, in a way that's worthwhile, because Rolling Thunder cooldown's lower than Stampede. It's not like you have a massive window where you're going to have Rolling and Stampede's not up. But now you don't have Stampede for the retreat on the side of Poke. And the side of Meteor can try to get cheeky. They've got the oh no.
Yeah, TC. He's getting the Warlock experience.
Yeah,
this is it's actually so sad. Is this the tree encounter?
I don't know if I'd say that. It looks like it here, but I would not say that. No, Warlock is... It's looking good here. Anfu's playing well. The Warlock's not accounting to anything, is what I'm trying to say. It's working, though. It's working. Even though the hero's, not that good right now, but it's working out very nicely for the side of Poke. They're playing around his hero well. Heck, we haven't even seen the maximal usage of it with, say, Fatal Bonds on 5 with Requiem, with Erasers on top. That's when things can get really crazy, and they haven't even had to rely on that, which is good news for the side of Poke. What's more good news here, Mike, is that they are working their way onto that Silver Edge. Another break for Lonfer to have up against that spec. And is still trailing behind in gold. Like, the Manta is almost done. But we're 25 minutes in, the SF and the Viper is still threats. And there's always Stampede to bail out when that Shadow Step or Haunt's committed.
Here we go, Aaron. You get caught, Stampede pop though. Aaron's still just going to try and run away and does actually make it away. He's alright. Mind you, there was a Stampede used for that, but I suppose for the side of Poke, they don't really care. It's still just a Stampede.
Yeah. There is a full smoke out from Meteor, though. Knowing Stampede's down, they know this is an opportunity, but same goes for Poke. They want to preempt it.
Yeah, and in we go. Smoke on smoke scenario. Into the mid-river they go. Arcane Rune's going to force them to break the smoke to try and move in. Looks like Molasses did pick it up in time. A massive overgrowth as well from TZ. That might have been the perfect setup, but there's no follow-up to it. They'll lose Aaron. YRG, oh, he's found a great angle for that Rolling Thunder. He caught two of them out. Ranfu's gone. Molasses will eventually drop, but it's for the price of 3 heroes on Poke. Definitely worth their trouble. On the side of Meteor Gaming. And they'll happily back after that. They even got a buyback from Aaron being forced.
Those are some quick fingers in that last fight. Instant BKB coming out from Molasses as the center comes into stun. There is that slight delay when you jump in. There is a cast point to hoof stop, so there's a window for you to dodge out. Manages to find that window. The blink usage from TZ this time, giving them a massive opportunity in the middle of that fight. And for Poke, they force that fight with 2 of their big spells down. No Stampede, no Golem. So they don't have a good way of getting some AoE control outside of Stomp.
This is a big pickoff. They found that mid-Viper. Off the back of that sleeping dart, there was no way for him to get out. And sadly, 5 seconds away from Stampede, you didn't have that option either.
They're punishing well. And they're playing the pickoff game well. You still have that 5k lead for Poke, but it does start to reach the point where you're wondering whether or not it's enough. We need to see that coordination kick in. We need to see them play as a unit. That's where their lineup really shines. Is having the Golem threat, having the Stampede to engage, disengage, and engage is massive. And for the most part, we've been seeing it used for disengages. We need to see them be able to jump in, find these targets, maybe try to pin down or burst down Molasses a bit quicker. Heck, actually, I think the high priority is TZ. Every time they blow up the tree, Meteor are not keen to fight. They know that Overgrowth's their only real control outside of Rolling Thunder, which is not reliable, and their only follow-through from the dart in terms of holding someone down. So if you can find TZ here for Poke, then it will dissuade Meteor from trying to re-engage, and could be their opening to drive a bigger wedge in this game. But so far, that 5k lead holds steady, but it hasn't grown in some time.
No, it has not. Worrying signs for Poke, that's for sure. There you go again. Shadow step out, and Ranfu is gone.
No.
Yeah. It's this combo, like, there's nothing you can do. Unless you stay as 5, you will get bursted down every single time. Look at Mark Blue.
Yep.
Behind the tier 2 tower in mid lane, just casually standing there. No sentry wall to scout him out. And they might pop a smoke too, which is the worst part. If they pop a smoke nearby, it's just going to be even worse. But no, they do find it.
Ooh.
There you go. They'll punish you.
It is only a Ricky, but you do manage to catch him out. Very unfortunate try to dodge with the tricks there into the hoof stop as he came out. So, you're feeling good here on Poke, but Meteor are still smoked up. Up together once more. Overgrowth is ready, but they don't really have good vision right now as to the whereabouts of Poke. Should just leave to Poke just kind of getting that build-up, grouping up themselves. They are at the full Silver Edge here for Lonfa, so he can break the spec. The issues they haven't found in quite some time. Meteor's done a fantastic job of protecting that spec and just playing around Haunt and Shadow Step rather than having this Spectre be up front.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Poke's still grouped up. Not wanting to allow that to happen again. There's your 4-man smoke out now. No vision to scout it out. Maybe a little bit obvious considering how long they've been missing. And Blue, he's going to break the smoke anyway. Hoof stopped way off the mark. The tricks of the trade was there, but they do have the lift up from Aaron. They really want this Ricky, but he just walks out freely. No problem. And Poke, they honestly seem a little bit lost now. It's kind of like we can hit creeps, we can farm well on Lin Fur, but after that, it's like, how are we going to initiate these fights at this stage?
Is under attack.
Yeah, your only bet is like a blink hoof stomp, and all you're finding is this Ricky constantly breaking their movement up. You need to find TZ, and he's the target. TZ and YRG. You take away those team fight spells, you have a much better chance here on the side of Poke, but Meteor, they're really using this Ricky well. Scouting out, even if the follow through's not there, just the threat of throwing Dart onto someone and the threat of the Shadow Step causes them to use Stampede so defensively on Poke that jumping into these fights is just a big challenge. Like, we heard the panel talk about it. You're just slow on a lot of heroes here.
Well, Sleeping Dart himself here, because Killer had the Lotus Orb, but he's still fine. They just can't really keep up with him. Like, he smoke screens and just walks away. It's just kind of sad to watch. This Ricky is just annihilating them at the moment.
That's the Ricky for you, right? The perfectly balanced Ricky as well. You don't get the Lena move. You get the next best thing here, Mike. Along with the tree.
You'd love to see.
Probably the top supports right now in terms of first phase priority. Aside of Poke, going back to your point of them just kind of being lost. I mean, they've been trying though, right? Like, they've been going in with these smokes, they've been trying to run around, but it's a Ricky problem. Blue is just way too much of a nuisance to really get anything done on. They could try for the Roche, but it's not safe when you don't have any pickoffs to go on. Just gonna clump up top. They've got the gem up on Killa at least. So spotting Blue is not gonna be as hard.
Scan is out. Poke know exactly where they are at the moment, but obviously you don't want to really disengage, though I say that. There is going to be a 5-man smoke up. Blue in perfect position to break said smoke. They'll wrap around through the Roshan pit instead, avoiding the Ricky altogether. Oh, they might run right into the Spectre. This is exactly what they'd love. Smoke is broken, but no, Killer! He had to try and do a blind. Now with the Haunt out, they can try to force a fight with the vision advantage they have. Killer, he's going to stampede in anyway, onto the Spectre. Still, he is going to be just fine. Is running. V is on the chase, but do they have enough damage? He'll just TP right away. They can't hold him down. And he can always just rejoin the team fight if he really wants to. The DP, she'll keep going, keep healing up. Molasses is not going to die through this. They're onto the SF. TZ will stand his own ground. Sleeping Dart will slow him down just a little bit. Molasses now being forced to back off as Lin Fur proving to be doing too much damage here on the SF. But they're going to move back in now with the Requiem gone. There's no defensive play for the side of Poke. So they'll just have their way with them. A 3-man swashbuckle out from YRG. It's taking a very long time to kill off the side of Poke. But they will eventually get it done. And Roshan is completely open now if you are Meteor Gaming.
And they can just easily go for it. Not the quickest Roche for them to take, but they've got the durability and the spec to just kind of play with that dispersion now. And the side of Poke, I mean, again, it's just so hard for them to go into these fights. They get their smoke broken, they have to jump in blind, they don't get the hoof stomp, they still get the chase, but without that initial control onto with a Haunt, it's just a chaotic team fight. And now we're at the point where the Spectre is a bit too big to handle. You've got the Scotty up, so much stats, so much HP and EHP to spread that dispersion damage around. You've got the full Aether Lens up and running on Blue, so the range on Sleeping Guard is just that much funnier to see. And for Pope, maybe just goes back to the support duo. None of these supports just make plays. Maybe Rubik could with Blink, and you do have that in Aaron, but it's easier said than done in this game.
That it is. That it is, Jonathan. That dire triangle going to be occupied by Poke again, looking very lost at the moment as to what they could possibly do in this game. Lunfur continuing his itemization, going into the Satanic and Butterfly, but again, it's just a matter of can you actually stand there and hit people the whole team fight, and the answer is generally no. Here we go. 5-man smoke. They'll move into that Radiant jungle. You might find Blue again. I mean, this is going to be so frustrating. Smoke's broken. The Riki knows they are around. They'll see the courier of the Riki. There's your dust out, but that's the only kill you're going to get. They even stampede away just in case. In fact, they're stampeding forward onto Molasses, but he's out of range. He does not get caught.
Every single time they are forced to use Stampede like this, it just feels so good for Meteor. Because they know there's no disengage option. And Killa.
Yeah, I mean, Killa, he's enjoying the Centaur experience right now.
V.
Yeah, V's just going down to illusions. He'll TP away. Golem has been dropped, but the Spectre is well on the chase. People being committed, but it won't matter because YRG's right behind him. That'll be a double kill for... They might not find any more, but it won't matter. Like, they're just kind of proving how dominant they are in this kind of match. This kind of game with these kind of drafts.
There's just no counterplay coming out from Poke. Again, their spell use is just not ideal. Now they're down Golem for any sort of defensive fight as well. And you've got good farm flowing in on Lunfa, but you've seen from the SF, it's not enough. It feels like this entire game is on his back. As even V in his output is not quite there. He is going for the instant Hex coming out here. So once that Hex is up, maybe that added control gives him the window they need to actually find these kills, especially since you do have that blink here on V. So you can be a pseudo blink initiator to follow through from the Centaur. Side of Meteor though, I mean, they don't really care. Just keep farming, keep building up, work your way onto that butterfly here for and there's just no stopping it. Like his output in the Shadow Steps just ridiculous. Even onto a Viper, you can just easily melt him.
That you can. We go again. Who do they find?
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Nobody. Molasses, I mean, they see the Death Prophet. He's a bit of a tanky boy, though. Jump in, they'll try. Lift us up, he'll BKB and just look to try and fight back. And they just have to stampede and run. They're just not feeling confident whatsoever here, Poke.
I don't think that was a stampede to run either. I believe that was to initiate forward. But then they saw the BKB turn on, they couldn't get the hoof stomp off. Instant disarm onto Lonfur, and then it just turns into a retreat. And they're just not able to find angles. 4K lead suddenly coming out here from Meteor. You're just so big and tanky on that spec. You're just gonna smoke. They've got this opportunity. They've got everything ready to go here, except Haunt, but you have Shadow Step, and Haunt's gonna be off anyway.
Not going to be an easy fight, that's for sure for Poke. Let's see if they get caught here as the courier does go down. Lunfur didn't have any items on it. They'll run into Aaron, he might just get deleted. Ranfu also just destroyed here by the Spectre as they're right in. Past the tier 3 towers, Overgrowth will hold V down. The Viper can do nothing. Literally nothing.
Yep. It doesn't even feel like a hero right now. I mean, you're at the point where Shadow Step on a core, it's just melting right through him. Full butterfly for his damage output is just insane. There's a ton of armor on top of it. You don't really have a good way of dealing with that, even with the break. And just onto the push. They don't have Stampede. Warlock will be up in 10. Maybe you get a defensive fight then.
Aaron. Oh, Aaron's gone. I mean, that just happened so quick. Lunfur, he's gonna find the Riki. So you get Marblue as a trade. But that's a dieback on your Ruby. The tier 3 tower just going to be focused down. Has absolutely zero fear right now. Aegis does expire, but I don't think he cares.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Even with a break on, you just don't have the output. You do have Stampede and Golem drop ready, but
Dire's bottom
it doesn't feel like you can really work it here.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
The bottom racks is gone.
Bottom barracks has fallen.
That'll be enough. The Hoof Stomp Killer, he's going to try, but the Golem drop is out, and now the turnaround is incoming. They'll lose YRG. No, that seems like it's enough. Like, they'll back out of there. Like, the way M's damages with these illusions, you think he could just keep going? Considering that they are just dying to illusions only? But he just doesn't want to risk anything. He's just more than happy to just move out, keep the farm going, and play the long game.
Yeah, just play it safe. You're not in a rush. You've got the advantage. You've got the scaling core. You understand that Poke's window is just so tiny now. At least Lanfra does have the Satanic up. I would argue maybe a Shard pickup here would feel really good for Lanfra. Just having that fear can actually give you a little bit of a window to get that burst, to get some control, to not have to deal with that one hero trying to escape. He's not opting for it yet, and he's not even queuing it up. He is going for the Arcane Blink next, so we're going to reach that point where you can just keep trying to spam out the Requiem, and it is fairly annoying to have that AoE fear on hand, as BKBs do shrink down in duration here. The game's becoming harder and harder for Poke to find a way back in.
Jump in again. Aaron immediately deleted. Oh boy. Well, we've all had these games, right, where you're just playing support against a Spectre like this, and you know you just can't survive. But what's he meant to do? He's going Aeon Disc. I suppose. There'll come a point when the Spectre just gets tired of the saving items and just buys Nullify, right? Mid lane, they're gonna find YRG, but the Overgrowth is out. TZ, he's caught quite a few of them. Requiem, it does nothing. It does nada here against the Spectre. They will just chase him down. Lentha's gone. V's caught out of the Viper. He is dead as well. Godlike, but that's four heroes down there, John. Gone.
Just like
For
that.
nothing.
Killa gets to live, but Killa can't really stop a push by himself. And now they can just go for the rest of the tier 2s. They still have to take care of top. The creep wave is shoving in. They can swing around to top or just at least have one hero kind of handle that. If they wish. They're going to be able to find this angle onto the high ground.
Oh boy, Aaron. Yeah, leave Aaron alone, man. It's not fair. It's not fair.
Yeah.
He just respawned.
Yeah. Just respawns and just dies. Like this dieback a while ago. There's not much you can really do.
I mean, the spawn camping you, John.
I mean, you could with Spectre, right? Like, that's the one thing in pubs. You could just Shadow Step, Manta, and you could literally just kill people in base when you hit that timing. Fortunately, is not doing that, because honestly, that would be really depressing to see in a pro game. Like, you could easily do it onto Ranfu. Easily. Like, that here is just, well, it's Warlock. You know, it's haha.
Yeah.
Doesn't do much.
Don't worry, John. I'm sure to get buffed in the next patch. Don't worry.
Oh, he even
Patch is
went for
coming.
the upheaval attack speed. Talent over Shadow Word at this point. He doesn't
Well.
have the shard. And like, yeah, you can't even just be a healing bot right now because of this. You can drop upheaval, try to give some attack speed out. That's kind of good with the SF. At the same time, yeah, nah. You know?
Yeah. I mean, it's a whole 12 attack speed per second. That's amazing. So good. I'm being sarcastic, in case you weren't aware, John.
It is good. It's not good. No, I never pick that up. Unless I'm like literally 5 levels ahead of the enemy team. Which, you know, it doesn't matter what you do in the Warlock, then you're just gonna win.
Yeah. Here we go again. Poke, double smoke, just in case the first one didn't work. And they run right into the side of Meteor. Golem is dropped. They're going to try and burst down YRC, but he is perfectly fine.
God.
He had an Aeon Disc up. Requiem, it does fly out. Does not care. He has his own BKB to just kind of ward that off, and Lunfer is just getting annihilated. Not even close. YRG, who'll hold down the Viper. This is one of those fights where you just think about calling it, right? Like, it's just
Yeah.
going so one-sided. 4 down again.
Yeah.
Ancient
this
exposed.
is
I think they just go for it.
pretty much. There's no point going for the Megas.
His middle tower is
And the side of Poke don't really have defense. They call it. They call it.
Yeah.
The side of
Let
Meteor,
the torture end.
they play a nice, fast game. And Poke learned the hard way again. I don't know if you can really fully blame it on the Warlock pick, but it certainly